Okay. I hope this domains of language use is clear to you all. Just for the example, we look at, Maria's example, or Maria as we call. Example number 4. Okay. Modeling variety or code choice, depending on the domain. Code choice is sometimes that you, in different domains, it's your choice to use a certain code. So you choose it from your own choice. It's not, sometimes it's already determined. For instance, at your home, you are using Pashto, but there's some kind of scenario or setting in which you want to offend the other person, or in which you want to be sarcastic, in which you want to be um, or if you're angry and you're using Urdu instantly. So obviously, the person who's at your home, family members, and you're communicating with them, you'll they'll feel odd because of the choice of the code that you are using. But that code is actually a code which is identifying. What is code? Code is something which can be deciphered, and it has a certain meaning behind it, and that certain meaning is known to only those people who who know who knows those people who know that what is the meaning of that code. So we in our community know that if we are at home and someone is using Urdu, so it means something different. And what does it mean? Maybe it's because someone wants to offend the other person, or maybe it's because you want to have fun, or you are you want to create fun in something. That's why you're using Urdu, which is not normal in our Pashto communities, that they don't use Urdu at their homes, but when they use, there's certain meaning. So this is your code choice. As we've already discussed in chapter 1, that are there are different factors which are responsible for choosing a certain language, or choosing certain these factors will determine which language would you choose. Those those social factors can be, for instance, participants, setting, and topic. It can be any of these, right? So in any speech community, it would depend on the participants, it would depend on the setting, as well as it would depend on the topic, uh, in any domain, that would determine your code choice. Not only the choice of words, but also the code choice. So if you're using um, formal Pashto, or you're using informal Pashto, it would be determined by the participant, setting, and topic in a domain. Right, I hope it is clear so far. Let's come to this example number 4. That is, Maria is a teenager whose Portuguese parents came to London in the 1960s. She uses mainly Portuguese as a home, and to older people at the Portuguese Catholic Church and Community Center, but English is the appropriate variety or code for her to use at school. She uses mostly English in her after school job, serving in a local cafe, though occasionally older customers greet her in Portuguese. Now, if you look at this, we all know that in London, there are many people who are migrants, migrants in a sense that they are not basically the people who are living there right from the beginning. So they are mostly migrants, and migrants would obviously speak their own language. Maria, or Maria, is also one of those migrants, and she's using Portuguese with her parents and with the family members at home, because that's her native language. Then she's also using the same language with older people in the church, because when she goes to the church, she meets those older people, and she knows that they all speak this Portuguese, right? But because she's living in a country where English is the native language, right, which is in England, she's living there, and she is using English, because we all know that in London English is spoken. So English is used, and as you know that English would be spoken in the domains, for example, in the market, in the places where she's serving. For instance, her somewhere where she is doing her job after the school, as well as in the school, because she's living there. So that's why she will communicate with the people who are and she'll be using a code or a variety which is going to be English. So her code choice is determined by the domains she's in, or by the participants she's talking to, or setting, or the topic. Because if you can see, with older people who are the participants in a setting where she is in a church, she is using a Portuguese. She's not using English over there. So these are the choices, that core choices, that we use when we are speaking different in different, yes, in different domains. Give me a second, please. जी इश्तियाक. Okay, I hope everyone can hear me. Please let me know if you all can hear me. Any one of you, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
We can hear.
Yes.
Okay, so if you can see the example, and if I've already explained the example, you'll see that by in different domains, different varieties and codes are used. Now there's this model that we make when we are conducting a research, or maybe you are writing a research paper, or maybe when you'll go to your fifth or sixth sorry, sixth or seventh semester, where you'll be, if you are taking such research that you want to know community's choice of language, or the code and the code choice, any community's code choice, and you want to analyze it, so you can use this model, right? In this model, um, you'll see there's this home. uh, Obviously it's not a class, so if it was a class it would be easy, but I'll try my level best so that I can explain it. If you can see, can you see the cursor? Can you see the cursor?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
then
yes.
fine, then look at the cursor, and then I'll explain things to you, right? If you see, there is this home, this is one domain. So when you are analyzing, or when you are making this model for any speech community, right? For any speech community, let's suppose we take the example of Pashto, Pashtun's community. So if you look at that, in who are residing in Pakistan, or who are residing in Peshawar, or who are residing in any other place, because it would vary from place to place they are living in. So for instance, we have Pashtun community, or Pathan communities in Afghanistan as well, but their community, their chart would be, or their model would be different from this one, the people who are residing in Peshawar. So if you look at this example of Portuguese community in residing in London, so at home it is plus. If you see, the sign is plus, which means yes, that they speak Portuguese. In the church, they speak this is no because it is coming from one domain to another domain. That is why this domain is changing, and that is why it's minus, and it is coming to no, means it is still here. This one domain and the choice or the code variety, this is one chunk of information. Then the model says negative and it goes to no because this home domain is ending here and it is going to the church domain. Yes, Aksa, switch on your mic if you have a question, please.
मैम आवाज
मैम
क्लियर नहीं आ रही है।
वॉइस क्लियर नहीं है,
आवाज
माइक को
क्लियर नहीं
थोड़ा
है?
सा दूर रखें,
अब
थोड़ा
ठीक
सा।
है?
यस मैम।
ओके
यस
गुड।
मैम अब ठीक है।
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. So so home domain is, so this is the domain which is home, then it is plus because it's yes, this is the language that you are speaking. These arrows will show you which language is spoken. This is no because it is change, it is changing, the domain is changing, it is changing from home to church. That is why we would like to end it over here, that the Portuguese language ends over here. But if the same language is spoken in the second domain, that is church, if the same language is spoken here, so we'll change it to yes, and it would go here directly linking it with the Portuguese, right? Then if you look at it from this church to work, it's again no because the language, because the domain is changing and the sign is minus. And it is work over here, that the domain changes as well over here. The domain changes and then we'll take it to yes, which is English. We use English, and the Portuguese community uses English and in their work domain. And then it is no because it is changing to another domain. So that's how you go and continue writing different domains. Uh, if you try to fill in your own, because I'm going to give you as this as an assignment, that you have to make your own chart, these two charts of code choice as well as of that Kalala's table. So you have to make this one chart as an assignment, and you have to make um, that table as well. So that's why I'm explaining it in detail, and I'm going to give you my own example so that you can understand, and it's easy for you to do your assignment as well. So if it's my chart, it would go as home, because in home domain I speak, it's positive yes, I speak Pashto, right? So instead of Portuguese it would be Pashto. Then in same home domain, I'm coming from home to the church, which is going to be negative, and it's no, obviously I don't go to church, so I'll change it to, let's suppose, university or working place. Give me a minute, please. Okay. I hope everyone can hear me. Any answer? Hello. Can all
यस
hear
मैम।
me? Okay, good.
यस मैम।
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Um, so then if obviously I don't go to church, so it's like when in, let's go to the marketplace, right? The marketplace, we normally speak Pashto. So obviously this is going to be yes, and then I will take it over there to Pashto. For instance, if I'm writing something else instead of marketplace, and first I want to write my workplace, then this yes would change into, here it will go straight, and I would write here, make a block, and I would write Urdu slash English over here, Urdu slash English over here, because that's my code or choice that I use when I'm in a workplace, because we use these two languages or these two codes when we are in a working place. But if i if I then go from no to another domain with minus, and then another domain, then let's change it to marketplace. So then in marketplace, my this arrow would go to uh, Pashto again, because in marketplaces, in in all those places we use Pashto. So this would again change to Pashto. So it would be Pashto, then English, and Urdu, then Pashto again, right? So that's how you're going to make this model. It's a model for different domains. But what would I write over here? I would write for the chart I'll make for my own community. So I'll write appropriate code choices in different domains among the Pashto speakers, or Pashtun community, Pashtun community, whatever you want to write, community in Peshawar. So this is very important, because if I change it to if I change this to a community which is, let's suppose, residing in Afghanistan, then a lot of things would change over here. We would not say English, we would say, let's suppose, Persian over here, right? So it would change automatically. So you have to keep this thing in your mind when you're writing it down. I hope it's clear. Any questions so far? Any question? Can you all hear me? Any question?
No, ma'am, no.
No questions?
No, no question, ma'am. It's all right.
Okay,
We
okay,
understood.
let's go ahead. So there are other factors which would also affect your code switching, right? And as I've told you, that participants and different factors would affect, and we have already studied them in chapter 1, which is the other factors which affect, where is it, which is social distance and all those factors. So, that you studied in social factors. See, status or relationship between people, even if they are in a different domain, it would still determine your, and it would affect your code choice as well. Or for example, formality, it may also affect your code choice. The function or the goal, why you are communicating, it would also affect. For instance, I gave you example of Pashto, that if you are speaking Pashto at home, but you want to, the function, the reason that you want to offend someone or you want to make fun of someone and you want to communicate with them, then you might change the code at that time, right? You might change the code because of these different reasons. It's not necessary that you'll always use the same code that is Pashto in the same setting. The reason being that you're communicating to a different participant. The reason being the social distance that you have with someone is either you're very close or you're very distant, or maybe the language that the code choice that you're using is because of will be affected by the formality scale or the different scales that we have studied. There's one important point. I hope I've already explained it in a lot of detail when I was discussing it in the last chapter or in the last lecture, so I don't need to go into detail of that. However, there is this one point that I need to explain, and I want to explain it to you, which is this term leakage. When at home, people often discuss work or school, for instance, and using the language associated with those domains, we use the same language, right? We use the same language and you use it in a different domain, and that is called leakage. Now there is difference in code choice when you're using it based on those scales that we have already studied in chapter 1. And leakage is different. Leakage is when you are trying to use because of the topic that you're using, because you're discussing something from a different domain in another domain, and you're using that code choice. That code choice become leakage. So for instance, you're talking to your parents, and it has happened to me a lot of the times that I'm talking to my parents, and because I speak with my students in Urdu or maybe sometimes in English. So when I'm trying to narrate them a story from what happened, so I would try to code switch over there. I'll try to change the language that I'm using, right? Because I'm narrating the same story and I'm changing it to the different domain because I'm discussing something from my university. And in the university, I use English or Urdu. And in my home domain, I use Pashto. So when I'm using, though I'm talking to my parents, the participants are same, the setting is same. I'm discussing with things with my family, but because I'm discussing something from another domain, so I'll be using the core choice of that domain in another domain of family, and that is called leakage, right? Because you're using a different domain in it's one domain is leaking into another domain. I hope it's clear. Please let me know if it's clear to you all, this
It
concept
is.
of
It is,
leaking.
ma'am.
Clear? Crystal
Yes,
clear.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Somewhat.
Okay, okay. Somewhat. Why somewhat? If you want, I can explain it once again.
I mean, let's just say, I mean, for example, there is a person who is using like these Hazara people. I've seen
Yeah,
them talk, and the thing is, like, they would say one thing in Pashto and then another complete sentence. Or you could say,
yeah,
like, the next thought would be completely in Urdu or some other language. Like,
yeah.
there is something that you would understand, and then some of it is in their own language. So, could that be considered as code switching, or is it something entirely different?
No, it is code switching, but code choices are your intentional choices that you make, that they are already determined, right? So
Like,
determined in
how
a sense, I'll let me explain it to you. Determined in a sense that you all know that when you are in Punjab, when you are in Punjab, you would try not to speak in Pashto, right? Because you know that it's already determined that in Punjab, people are, you don't find, you will hardly find someone who's native speaker of Pashto. But once you find someone who's the native speaker of Pashto, because of the participant, it is determined that you would speak in Pashto. You'll change your code to Pashto. So
oh, yes, yes,
got
ma'am.
it?
Got it,
Because of
got
the
it.
participant you have changed. It's your
Yes,
choice,
because
it's
it's
your core choice.
yes,
Yes, it's your core choice. It is something that that either the society has determined it because of the area or because of the domain. Because in university, students try not to speak in Pashto with the teachers, right? And then but obviously, as we have already discussed, that the scale would also determine. For instance, with just that I've explained it in the previous lecture, that for instance, if with some teacher you are very frank and you're very close, and they've already communicated to you in Pashto, so your communication has already has developed in Pashto, so you'll speak to them in Pashto, right? You'll start speaking, but with me you would
yes,
not,
yes,
right? So with me it's
yes, yes.
different, with other teachers it's depending on the participant. So this is the core choice that is made over there, right? It's the course choice which is already determined. I hope it's clear now.
Yes, ma'am, it is, ma'am. Thank
Okay, good. Any other question? Any other question? No. Okay, I'm giving you all two choices. Either I take the lecture in one go right now, go ahead with the lecture right now and complete this diclosia as well, diclosia, or I should take the lecture, half of the lecture tomorrow. What do you want?
Yes, ma'am. Tomorrow. Tomorrow is fine, madam.
1 hour lecture, because we're like 1 hour lecture would complete diclosia by then.
Yes, ma'am. Tomorrow. Tomorrow is fine,
Tomorrow, how
madam.
many of you say tomorrow?
We would have a
And
chance to
tomorrow.
study this as well.
Tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow. Who's breakfast? Breakfast time. Okay. Half
मैं
tomorrow.
नहीं
Okay, fine.
बताऊंगा. Who is there? Who is there?
Okay.
मैं नहीं बताऊंगा.
Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Then let it be tomorrow then. Okay. In the
Yes,
same
ma'am. Thank you.
timings, that is 10 o'clock, I'll take the class.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you.
10 o'clock. Okay. Have a good day.
You as well, ma'am. You as well. Thank you, ma'am.
Jazakallah. Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.
All right. Allah Hafiz. Bye, ma'am. See you later.
Allah Hafiz.